Hey, what's up, fellow Hoosiers? Great to be back here with you. I'm Rhett Lewis for another episode of Under the Hood with IU Football, presented by your Central Indiana Ford dealers, proud sponsor of IU Football. Reminder to get out there and visit your local Central Indiana Ford dealer today. It's our pleasure as we continue our series of getting to know Coach Sig's inaugural coaching staff here, getting a chance to chat with all these coaches. And today we have the opportunity to have a conversation with special teams coordinator, tight ends coach Grant Kane, who's here with us and has been with Coach Sig the last 4 years or so at James Madison since 2019 in those same roles. So, Grant, excited to chat with you, man. Welcome.
Thanks, Red. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about your familiarity with Coach Cignetti and, how you guys got connected in the first place and then, how excited you are to kind of continue that connection here now in a new place.
Yeah, Coach Cignetti's a ball coach. I mean, he loves to get better every single day. I mean, as long as we all been doing it, I think all our coaching staff, we're growing every day along with the players. And it starts with Coach Cignetti and the passion he puts into it. And I linked up with him back in 2019. I was coaching at Mercer University. We had been pretty successful on special teams, and he noticed that through studying stats, studying the game tape, and kind of cold called me. Didn't know him, didn't have a relationship with him. Spoke at some clinics some of his staff members were at, and I think that's how my name got in front of him. But he knew everything about me when I picked up the phone. And so and JMU was a great place. And so I was looking forward to getting there, working with him there. And then when he asked me to come with him to Indiana, it was a no-brainer. So.
Well, we're excited to have you. So not only welcome here to the series here, but welcome, of course, to Bloomington. Great to have you on our side, right, for the glory of old IU. So let's talk a little bit about, the responsibilities and really the time commitment and how you have to manage your time as the special teams coordinator, managing, the core four. You got the field goal block team as well, and then you got to deal with the tight ends too. So how does all that work for you? I know you've been doing it the last few years.
Well, we're blessed to have a great staff, and we have a lot of coaches on our staff that could be special teams coordinators in their own right. They understand the game, the techniques. So just, setting those guys on a path where they can own their units, their parts of the special teams, and do a good job so that I just can worry about coordinating it. And then we have a lot of guys behind the scenes that help with the coordination of that, paperwork, things like that, organization. So it's a team effort.
Well, it felt like, earlier in your career, you were mostly on the defensive side of the ball in terms of, position coaching. And then, in 2019, you move on to the offensive side at the tight end spot. What went into that transition and what was that part of it, like for you?
Yeah, 16 years on the defensive side of the ball. Love the, instinctual play there, the physicality, the run and hit. Being in those situations, still love it. But you get a lot of that with special teams. So you're living in a little chaotic world where you got to have traffic rules and know how to fit off different things and react to different things. So when I went to JMU with Coach Sig, that's when I moved to the offensive side of the ball, which actually was a blessing as well, learning the other side of the ball as a coach and having a chance to do that. Never had a chance to do that in my career. And then coaching the tight ends, who we use the tight end as good as anybody in the country. I think, being versatile with those guys, they're lining up all over the place. They're doing different things. So every day, you got to be paying attention, locked in, doesn't get boring at all.
Yeah, let's dig in on that with the tight ends in particular. How does this offense, really deploy that group? Are we going to be in 11? We're going to see two tight ends at one time. Like, how does all that kind of work in the landscape of this scheme?
It's all going to revolve around the players. Like, how good are we at certain positions? How deep are we? And the coach will put guys in positions to be successful and win one-on-one matchups one way or the other and give defensive fits. And so I think every week, you may see a different amount of this or that.
Yeah. And then, obviously tight ends can in some ways be an extension, of the offensive line with their duties. And then obviously, can be a part of that receiver group as well. So how do you kind of talk and verbalize, their responsibilities to them, given the dual nature of that position?
Right. You're jack of all trades, master of none. Right. And so we try to really start with the premise of, hey, be good at what you're supposed to be good at. So some of these guys are more of a blocker, less of a receiver, and vice versa. So let's start with making sure you're really good at what you're brought here to do. Okay. And then let's build off that and continue to work on our weaknesses.
And then, as you've kind of look, obviously we're getting spring ball rolling here. It's still early, and we've got a ton more practices to get to through the summer, and then obviously into fall camp. What have been your impressions, of the tight end group, and how you see these kind of puzzle pieces all fitting together? Because it is a pretty deep group now, just in terms of numbers.
Yeah, deep group. They're still learning every single day, and they're learning how we do things, and not just the standards and expectations, but just some technique things. Everything's different for them from a terminology standpoint, and I don't just mean the plays. I mean like how we talk different techniques and how we communicate effectively on the sidelines and try to get better, and just how can they improve with each day.
And then obviously you're quite familiar with Zach, who comes over, in the portal, having coached him the last couple of years. What kind of player is Indiana getting here in a guy that you had in your room at James Madison?
Yeah, bulldog. I mean, the guy loves ball. A guy who's going to go out there every day and just put his heart into it for Indiana. And you're going to ask him to do a lot of different things, and he's going to give you everything he's got. And it's going to show up on the film. I mean, you can be one of those guys where you put on the tape and it's going to show up. And he's not just like that on game day. He's like that every single day. That's what we saw when we recruited him. He was a COVID recruit where we could really go out and see him. And he actually put on so much weight. But his senior year, I was a little nervous he'd come in fat, but it was good weight. And
good weight.
But he's he loves it. He loves it. He's passionate. And when he's not doing football, he's probably watching basketball. And when he's not doing basketball, he's probably watching Olympic sports. I mean, he just loves sports. He loves ball. He's that type of guy.
Loves competing, sounds like. And I know that's probably why he endeared himself to Coach Cignetti, who loves that, and to yourself as well. So excited about that. And then, I know you guys went out and got a freshman in this recruiting class in Brody. Now you got two Brodies in the same tight end room, which might be a record, at least here. What do you see as the challenges for a young player at this position and kind of getting everything going in the right direction?
Yeah, your adrenaline's pumping. You're just excited to be on a college football field, and you're with guys that are probably way older and way better than you at this point in your career. So just the adrenaline's pumping, and you're trying to learn things, communicate things, get lined up fast. Everybody's yelling at you. There's a lot going on for those freshmen. So really just focus on the process. Focus on the process, understand it's a process, that it's not going to be hey, one day you're ready to go and you're playing. Like, no, it's going to be over time, and you're going to go through ups and downs, and just understand that on the front end makes it a little bit easier to stomach.
Sure. And then, any other impressions from some of the guys that you kind of got to know once you got here? Obviously, James Bamba, Trey Walker, seen a lot of time before, had some big physical guys in Anthony Miller and Sam West who didn't get a chance to get on the field a whole lot, but obviously, practice for a year. Any impressions from that group thus far?
Yeah, great kids. They want to learn it. They've done a great job in the kind of the classroom setting of learning the material. Now it's time to go do it. So now I know you as a person. We've been able to have some dinners together and learn about each other and where they come from, what their background was, how they ended up here. All that's been great. But now it's like, all right, who are you as a football player? And so really putting on the film today for the first time, what our impressions of them were yesterday are different today. So that's the process.
I had when I first played at IU, my first coach was Cam Cameron, and used to end up getting, recruiting a lot of, athletic tight ends that actually ended up migrating over to the offensive line and becoming, all Big Ten, all conference offensive linemen. Now, look, that's easier said than done, right? Putting on 50 pounds or 60 pounds, whatever it is. But when you have a deep group at tight end, and I don't know how many you guys, would ideally like to have or like to keep, because of the versatility of the position and what's asked of them, do you also kind of start to evaluate, if it doesn't work out here, maybe it can work out here, that sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And you can use it as a threat. Hey, one more cheeseburger. You're line. So watch that weight. So it's, right. I don't think any of them I haven't recruited a tight end yet. At least in the last 5 years, it was like, man, if I just put on 20 more pounds, I'm going to go to O-line. That's where my career is going to be.
Yeah.
But you want to be put in a situation, if you're a football player, you want to be put in a situation where you can succeed. And if that's the best move, Coach Cignetti, one of the great things he does is he evaluates each guy and what's best for him. And so moving guys to a different position is old hat for him. He's done it plenty of times and has had successes with it. So absolutely, if that's the move and that's the right thing for the young man and for the team, obviously, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and obviously we've seen that a couple of times already on the defensive side of the ball. So excited to see how that progress kind of takes shape, for some of those guys. Let's move to the specialist here a little bit because, we've gotten to know, James Evans quite well the last couple of years, very experienced now since, he really took over the full-time punting duties back in 21. Would have been your initial kind of impressions of the way he can put foot to ball and get things in flip field position.
Yeah, so firsthand, those guys, you can do things really well. And I'm challenging all of them. There's guys that are looking to move up and prove themselves. And then there's Jimmy, who, his next challenge is, can he make it to the next level? So what are some things that we can do to improve there? Let's start working on that right now. Okay. Sure. Not only is that going to help our team, it's going to help you prepare. So they're all being challenged in a way that's going to make them a little bit uncomfortable for a little while. And so we're trying to just make sure that they're getting better every single day. Yeah, he can kick it really far. What else can we get better?
Right. And then do you envision a kicker competition kind of working its way through here over the course of the spring and the summer before we get to the fall?
Absolutely. Those kickers compete every single day. I really do think, though, the spring it's a little harder, colder weather. Rhythm with the snapper, holder, kicker, as you well know, that's a big part of it. The chemistry that those guys have is paramount. But we are learning about those guys. But I think that competition will go all the way up until the first game.
Love it. And, I think I'm gonna count on your sponsorship of the bill I'm sending over to the Big Ten Conference to advocate for the All Big Ten placeholder designation.
There's no doubt. There's right? No doubt. We've talked before about the importance of the holder. That can take a kicker from 75% to 92% just by having a great holder. And
look at that. Yeah,
I'll stand on that hill. I'll die on that hill for sure.
Let's do it. I'm all in with you on that front for sure. I already call myself that anyway, officially as an All Big Ten placeholder. Lastly here, Coach, really enjoyed getting a chance to get to know you a little bit. What are kind of your core messages, though, just when you send out there to guys to say that, hey, would love to contribute on special teams. Want to is one thing. Ability is another thing, right? And then what are you kind of telling them? This is the way that we're going to go out there and play on punt return, kick return, and all that.
Yeah, everything we do on teams, and again, this is culture, organizational wide. We're going to be fast, physical, and relentless. I truly believe that special teams is an instinctual play. We want these guys to play fast. In order to do that, let's be very disciplined and simple in our approach, where these guys aren't thinking too much, but also we want to be, inwardly simple, but outwardly complex, where we're keeping our opponent on the toes. But special teams, guys, contributors, the reasons that we've had success on teams is we've had great players and we've had great leaders and we've had great role players. And at the end of the day, these guys understand that teams contributes to wins. There's a lot of score games. Indiana, we lost 5 of them by 1 score last year. Yeah. It's going to come down to some little things: field position, big plays, momentum changing plays, and they're not always going to show up in the stat book. Also, you're developing your resume for the next level if you're a really good player. So that's a requirement at the next level. If you don't play offensive line, quarterback, or defensive tackle, you're probably playing on special teams. So start developing that skill set right now. But at the end of the day, special teams, to me and to our organization, is the tip of the spear. We're going to lead from the front. We're the first to the fight. We got a chance to make the most damage, and then the offense and defense can come in and do their job. And that's the way we approach it every single day in practice. And when you approach that from the top down with Coach Cignetti and our staff and preach that every day, I do think these guys buy into it. So the buy-in with the great players, that's what we're looking for.
Let's go block some kicks and score some touchdowns. What do you say?
Yeah, what are we doing? Yeah, just 2 guys talking about holders and blocking kicks. Right. And yeah.
Well, Grant, this has been a lot of fun, man. And it's been fun to kind of watch you guys these last couple of months kind of get acclimated, and can't wait to see the progress really take shape out on the field here in these next couple of months as well. So thanks again for being with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Rhett. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Another episode Under the Hood with IU Football, presented by your Central Indiana Ford dealers. I'm Rhett Lewis, and we'll be back with you again next week.